Askeladd's going to turn out to be the reluctant mentor, isn't he? Ah, druggy. They do not care about the rules. They just think this is amusing.
Odd respect still for Thor's in a way.
That's gotta be it. Hi, Pink Ranger Gamer here. We're back with another Notorious PRG reaction video with special guests.
I'm Bluebonnet.
And I'm Treebeard.
We are back with, it's episode 5 of season 1, Vinland Saga, and oof, last episode was rough. We lost a very, very pivotal character to this series. My currently favorite character, Thor's. After Thor's and his men were ambushed by Askeladd, and Thor's challenged him to a duel in order to try to save his men, and ended up sacrificing his life to save his son and his men. And Askeladd, he went back on some of the parts of the duel, but he did end up letting the men go. But he had a stowaway on the ship, a very, very angry little boy who has decided, if the look in his eyes is any indication, that he will try to avenge his father's death. So that's where we left off.
And if you're excited for the next episode and you don't want to wait another week, all our VIPs can see the next episode a week early on Patreon. You can see the link for that in the description and in the pinned comment.
And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications with the bell.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Without further ado, let's hop into it, because I got to know what happened. What's happening next?
How long until we get there? At this point, I figured we would have gotten paid. Have patience, man.
I haven't gotten paid yet? Oof.
Poor baby.
What's wrong with the water?
Well, I bet it's just that salt water.
Oh, yeah, that's dangerous. England near the River Humber.
So who's watching the ships? We won't be here for long. Just stopping for a short rest.
So Askeladd's going to turn out to be the reluctant mentor, isn't he? Not a question. Don't spoil it. Sorry, I'm going to be talking at the show. I'm not asking a spoiler question.
You're totally fine. Oh.
Rough days.
Yeah.
God, thank God I get you some water. Don't drink too fast.
Sound good? Oh boy.
Running will only make us want to hurt you more. Let no one escape. We don't want any rats.
Okay, that's a face.
Oh. Morbid. People are awful.
Mm-hmm.
Pillagers.
Some of these scenes make me think of the Northmen when I watch that.
Sword's as tall as he is.
I know. You would have had better luck with the knife.
Drink so much.
And I can't imagine living in that culture.
I must avenge my father! I'm challenging you to a duel!
Yeah, that's gonna go well.
The boy means business. I'm afraid.
It's just baby. Doesn't know any better.
My father taught me better than that. I won't act like a coward! Now fight me!
Go for it, boy! Guess you could say we don't always get along with the locals.
We were given a question to ask you also.
Which is?
How were the final moment of the Troll of Yam's life?
Weird.
There's no sense in starving yourself.
What's his problem? Thought we were only being nice.
Really, like, murdered his father and all. Like, we're this big sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing anybody can do about his death. And crying's only gonna make you hungry. All right then, better get to work.
Option?
I'll find Thorfinn. I swear I will, no matter how long it takes.
What's this guy's name again?
Leaf Burgers.
Leaf?
Leaf.
Leaf?
Leaf.
Mother, how are you feeling?
Good. Let me help you. You don't need to do
No. I can handle it. Just stay in bed.
I'm kind of shocked by how, like, unreacting they are. They're just like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they probably just expected it.
The
Like,
mom
I
kind
know
of
I'm
expected.
late. I'm sorry.
I'm sure she's almost used to probably questioning if he's going to come home.
I'll have to share each one of them when spring
But
comes
still the
around.
daughter, like,
I think she's just throwing herself into as much work as possible to try and not feel anything.
It's time to rest.
No, I'm almost finished. I'll be fine. I'm not that tired yet.
Good job, Mama. Tell her to stop.
Have you learned how to use that thing yet?
You! How could you do that?
Ah, druggy.
Now he's got more food.
yeah. That's gotta be rough, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, finish it. Don't just let it die slowly.
Poor bit.
Okay, Thorfinn, don't get a big head. A training montage where you get up to being able to kill one rabbit does not mean you can kill a man. A warrior at that.
It was more comfortable than I thought.
Someone's coming.
Be cool, Thorfinn. Be cool.
I am the son of Thor's. Thorfinn, in the name of the almighty Odin, I'm challenging.
Oh my goodness.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
Round
Your
two.
father. Prepare to die.
Tell you one
I
thing,
admire
boy
the
has
unrelenting
guts.
nature, though, I gotta say.
Askeladd.
A chieftain's supposed to live up to his men's expectations.
They do not care about the roles. They just think this is amusing.
I, Askeladd, son of Olaf, accept your challenge in the name of Odin. You want to meet your father again so soon?
Oof. Just draw blood once. That'd be impressive. This is going exactly like I think it thought it would.
Short arms and a shorter weapon.
Well, wasting so much energy.
I gotta say, I'm really surprised at them just like not killing him, because obviously they're totally fine with killing kids and stuff. So like, I guess they just find it like amusing,
Yeah.
or just some sense of like odd respect still for Thor's in a way.
That's
Yeah.
gotta be it. Because they have zero respect of kids.
Pretty boring.
Yeah, just regular people, but I guess because like, even though they killed him, they do seem to respect
enough,
Thor's in
don't
the
you
sense of
think?
like
It'll be
who
Exactly.
he is, like him just being powerful.
Because that's all they respect is power at war.
And that was impressive.
Okay,
That was
one
good.
drop of blood. Just give me one drop of blood.
Hey, he made him have to move. That was good.
Well, he moved an arm. Like, it's not like he he had to like change his
He
stance.
trained himself up all for that. They're noticing. They see what he's doing.
It's the only shot that would have killed him.
Uh-huh.
Let's call it there. I take no pleasure in murdering children.
Bro, you just killed a whole village. Don't even lie. What you mean?
I'm not finished.
I don't have time for this.
Hey, wait! I haven't lost yet! Fight me!
Dude, you lost before you even challenged him.
Not until I kill you! You'll die for what you did!
I mean, yeah, maybe he might in like 20 years.
I have your word on that.
His word means so much.
Hmm.
I think calling yourself a warrior is a bit of a stretch.
You can always trust a warrior's promise, except the one who just broke the promise to your dad.
Promise.
Or the one who's more of a pirate and a pillager than a warrior.
It's just like
Mm.
You got a life goal going on here now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, grief does make you stupid, but come on, Thorfinn.
Oh, grief and being a child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's 6 years old. Like, I gotta say, I just admire that he went to avenge his father.
Mhm.
Like, as much as, like, it's a dangerous journey.
It's a lot of
I
determination.
mean,
No, that's stupid.
should be said for justice.
That vengeance isn't justice. It's vengeance.
I mean,
Those are
no,
two
'cause
different
I did-
concepts.
I think
There's
that there's a sense of, like, the person who killed him. I mean, I think that obviously that gets into a philosophical discussion, but I mean, I think there's something to be said for
A life for a life is
the
not
idea
justice.
of someone who depends on who you ask in the context, but I don't know. I think that there's something to be said for someone who maintains being evil. It's not like he's a reformed man. It's not like he's like walking out like, oh no, I've learned and I'm gonna be a better person. Like that's why jails exist. People go to prison and stuff.
Yes, him going to jail, him being in a court of law,
This
like
is
him.
Viking culture. That doesn't
Mhm.
exist.
Mhm.
No.
That's before that time. They're
Yeah.
nomadic.
Then seek
Yeah.
it. Take him to the king. Have his king
They're
take his
more
crew in his
nomadic than
boat.
any sort of
Like that would
banana.
him lose. He's not afraid to lose his life. That means nothing to him losing his life. Like that's an honor. That's going to Valhalla. That's the ultimate reward for him. The king taking his boat, the king taking his crew, that would be the ultimate dishonor.
But the thing is, that would be seen as probably not even, it probably wouldn't even be recognized as a crime because he fought him in a.
It'd be questionably so because he didn't respect the duel. So that would be, and then also that was like a personal vendetta thing too. So I don't know. I could see it going either way of like depending upon basically who the king or leader was or whatever.
Yeah.
They could be like, oh, well, you didn't expect like a respect code and stuff, or they could just be like, this is what we do. We kill people, whatever. Like,
because at the time there's like laws meant nothing. It just came down to whatever the royalty said.
Yeah.
Whoever was in charge just dictated rules.
Yeah, it's not like there was really structured laws that were actually being followed. Plus, this is a fantasy culture, so there's that too. But
Well, that's what I'm saying. You use your head. We were just talking about what a true warrior means in the last episode. Thorfinn could, grow up, gain influence, befriend the king or whoever's.
at 6 years old, he's not thinking about that.
Next, and
He's
then-
thinking straightforward, like what's in front of him.
Mhm. That's the easy way.
That's the only way a kid's gonna understand is
Yeah, that's all
this
they can
person
think
needs
of.
to pay. I'm gonna make them pay.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, and especially when that's literally like what you've been raised with.
That's the.
It's like
Not with his
I
dad
think,
though. His
again,
dad
like I
said
think
you
there's
have no
something we said of like
enemies.
a vengeance.
But he basically didn't respect his dad for that.
Which some people as a whole, even in modern culture, may not respect such a blatant sentiment, but
Mhm.
just depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
Some might disagree, some might agree. Depends.
Mhm.
That's the whole idea of like questioning of spectrum of pacifism versus warfaring. Where do you fall on the line?
Yeah.
What violence is fine, what isn't.
hmm What is justice and what is not? Which is totally different to different people.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's not get into that in the comments. But I did like that he finally realized that a long sword for his height was stupid. And he took his dad's knife and had the training montage.
That is so smart for him to even like pick up on that, to be like, okay, well, let's try something smaller.
Yeah, is that was a pretty funny montage to me.
It's impressive, honestly. I mean, having like the determination to like train yourself and doing so successfully. He's a really smart kid.
I mean, I liked more the survival aspect of it, of like being willing to like eat the scraps, like find the water, eat the scraps,
Learning to get by.
like trying to find the mushrooms, trying to get the rabbit, having to like stare down the wolf, and then when he's like he finally got the one rabbit, and he's like, okay, it's time to take on a fully grown warrior man. I was like, oh, it's like this escalated quickly.
It totally makes sense for a 6-year-old mind, though. I like that they follow the logic of a 6-year-old. They're not following the logic of some like 20-year-old magically at 6. Like he's thinking his age. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like that's something a lot of shows do wrong is they make children seem just like small adults. And
That's
they miss
true.
out on the fact of like these are kids.
Yeah,
They
That's
think
true.
very, very differently.
Avatar did a good job at that, of mixing it up, of like the heavy
Avatar was-
adult responsibility, but also like, but I'm a kid.
Yeah, it recognized like they were immature
Mm-hmm.
They recognized their responsibilities and they were old enough to see what they had to do, but they were immature about it at the time.
So yeah, I feel like this was one of the episodes though that didn't leave off in a cliffhanger. I mean, they're still like set up towards more and more, but like I don't feel like they're like, oh, okay, but we're gonna duel again, and then like the very next episode, or like, you know what I mean? Like it's more like that's a future promise of like he's got to, Askeladd said, win honor in battle, and then we'll duel again. But that could take 10 years.
I feel like this is where we get past the setup, and this is like the first episode of the meat of the show. Because now it's like, okay, now I can see the trajectory, not just of the next episode, but I can see the trajectory of the rest of the show.
Oh, that's good. And you can always trust a warrior's promise. It was like too soon. Askeladd.
Yeah, no joke.
We do fulfill half of a warrior's promise. No more.
Really just trust him to serve himself more than anything. But
well, like letting the crew go was detrimental to himself because he could have profited off of selling them. So he did honor like that part of it, but he had already promised to kill Thor's. So you could almost make the argument like he was keeping his first promise, which required him to break his second one, or part of his second one.
I guess.
Oh, absolutely. Like I think he's a complex and rich character. Like I don't think he's a poorly written character. I think they're leaving him like mysterious and like where can he go, and that's why I'm feeling like they're trying to be mysterious about like, oh, he's an antagonist, but leaving it open because I do think he'll probably end up being not a like good character, like a good guy, but not a bad. Like not an antagonist, because I do kind of get the feeling that he's going to be a like the reluctant mentor.
I mean, you can kind of see that in this episode of like, Thorfinn remembering what he said about swinging the sword, not the sword swinging you, and that's what made him think to try using his dagger instead.
I think they're both going to be reluctant because obviously he's the guy who ordered the kill on his dad. So Thorfinn's like going to want none of it, but like they're both going to benefit from. Both going to benefit from the relationship, not want the relationship, and so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. If it's going to take a while for them to get back together, or if Thorfinn is so far away from his family and his village,
over in England.
Yeah, or if he has to stick by them because they're not protecting or providing for him, but he doesn't know anybody else. So it could be the enemy might be safer than another Viking crew or the English.
Plus, he probably doesn't want to lose Askeladd and not be able to find him again.
Oh, yeah. His number one reason for going on right now. So we'll see how that plot line continues. So as far as other characters, we did get a little bit more of the ladies. I'm gonna butcher her name. Elva, the sister. She got back to work as soon as her dad, and she found out about the loss of her dad and her brother being missing. I think that was a very sweet moment between mother and daughter when her mom, forced her to just stop moving so she could just feel and recognize the grief. That was a sweet, tender moment. It'd be interesting to see because we haven't really gotten very much of her other than knowing that she's desired in the village, and that she was not anti-slavery. But it was such a small little part. It's like that's literally all I know about her. Like, and not why. And like, there's no why or there's no meat behind it. It's like just a two-dimensional character. So it'll be interesting. Like, I want to know more.
Yeah, I feel like I can tell they're going to get into a little bit more soon, just trying to follow the settings.
To the Troll's Son, title of this week's episode. He did the Inigo Montoya moment. What do you think the title of this week's episode means?
I think the specific choice of wording of the Troll's Son kind of indicates how they sort of see Thor's determination in Thorfinn. They can sort of like as mentioned, he's got the blood of the troll in him, they can see the first signs of him being like Thor's.
And strong-willed.
Do you think we touched a little bit on the fact that they haven't hurt him when they feel comfortable hurting other kids? Like they literally just, completely decimated an entire English village. The possibility that maybe they haven't hurt him and they're literally just ignoring him until he forces a confrontation, that it might be due to a lasting respect for the troll of Yam. Do you think the Troll's Son has to do with not just the fact that he is you're starting to see a little bit of the resemblance start to come out, but also not just the fact that he's starting to exhibit the but that they're starting to look for it and to put a value on him, whether or not he has it, but starting to like want that and desire it, and maybe even try to pull it out of him.
Yeah.
Mhm. I could see that.
Someone has a certain type of car, and before you know they have that type of car, you never see it like out when you're driving, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's Bluebonnet's car, and then all of a sudden you're just like, this car is all over the place. You start recognizing it and you spot it, and you start valuing the connection a little bit more, so then you start spotting it everywhere. But okay, yeah, so the director of this episode was Tomoko Hiramuki, who there's two, who last episode directed was The Troll, and Yoji Sato, which directed the last episode was The Sword. As well as this was the first time there's two main writers, Kenta Ihara and Hiroshi Seko. Hiroshi Seko is the main writer of all 24 episodes, but this was the first time we had two main writers. So we're going to be diving in a little bit more now that we're, like you said, we're in the main story now. So it's going to be a little more in depth. Okay. Any final thoughts as we start to wrap it up?
I thought it was a really good episode. I'm really interested in just seeing continue where it goes, and I like Thorfinn's connection with his father being shown now. Like, it seemed like they had a rocky connection to start with because they were just so different. And he's just, a kid. That's just how it is, sons and fathers and whatever. So I like that it kind of shows that he cares so much about his father. And, even though, like, they had kind of a funky relationship, Thorfinn really loved Thor's and really respected him and like wants to honor him in life. And like I think it's really cool kind of seeing the way that he's trying to like honor what his father cared about and what was important to his father, his morals, but also like grappling with the idea of justice and figuring out like what justice means to him, and the idea of kind of vengeance and justice and like where the line gets drawn, what's right and wrong, and kind of paving his way as just a 6-year-old kid. So
I don't know. Honestly, I just see hurt. I think he's a hurt little boy.
Obviously, yeah, definitely,
and
no
so
question of that.
I think he's more so reacting. I think a lot of the lessons that we've seen his father talk to him about, I don't think he's there yet. I think he'll be able to dive into that later, maybe this season, maybe next season, and then the lessons. He's like, I think he's going to have the moments of like, okay, maybe this is not what my father wanted for me. Maybe this is not what I should be doing.
We already saw that this episode with the nighttime thing where he was going to go cut him down. I mean, you already see him grappling with it. But I think that's, of course, going to be an ongoing thing. I mean, I think that will be a lifelong thing.
There's so much he can understand as a child. And it will have to be as he grows, he understands.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Thor's was learning over the course of his life. He's totally different from younger to older. So we'll just see him go through a sort of similar journey.
Even as an adult, yeah. We all do that. Even as an adult, we're like, and you make better choices.
You never finish learning.
No, never.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Treebeard, anything you want to add?
Oh, I think we summarized it pretty well.
Okay, Pinklings, leave something in the comments about what do you think Thorfinn learned this episode. Particularly, is there a lesson that you think that his father left with him? He either learned very well or that he maybe needs to remember in future episodes. If you've already watched the anime or read the manga, no spoilers. Be kind to those who are watching for the first time, like me and Bluebonnet, I can't wait to go on a little bit more. In this episode, we saw Thorfinn had stowed away and went to England with Askeladd and his crew, and they were actually really chill about that. They kind of thought it was either they ignored him or they thought it was amusing until Thorfinn asked Askeladd for a duel, and after he had that training montage, of course. So he brought out his survival instincts and skills up to par, and then thought he was ready to take on Askeladd, and found out no. I know you're shocked, Pinklings, but he was not ready to take on Askeladd. Maybe next episode. No, I'm kidding. So we'll find out once he gets some honors on the battlefield, like a true Norseman is supposed to have. So thank you so much for joining us, and special thanks to my guest stars.
I'm Bluebonnet.
And I'm Treebeard.
And don't forget, the next week's episode is available on Patreon. Link in the pinned comment description of the video. You can also watch us over on that other streaming service. And until next time, I'm Fingerjig Gamer.